After Leave Her to Heaven, Vincent next appeared in the 1946 film Shock. The film begins at the Belmont Arms Hotel in San Francisco, where Janet Stewart, played by Annabelle Shaw, is checking in to meet her husband, Lieutenant Paul Stewart, played by Frank Lattimore. She falls asleep in her hotel room and awakens late that night to discover that Paul still hasn't arrived. She then wanders onto the balcony where she oversees a neighboring couple arguing. She overhears the man, played by Vincent Price, has been having an affair and in fact was meeting his mistress at this hotel. His wife followed him there and confronted him. He informs her that he wants a divorce, to which she angrily agrees, threatening to go to the newspapers and spread all the dirty details of his scandalous affair. The argument heats up, and when she tries to grab the phone, it escalates to physical violence.
You're not going to up to... I hate you!
Her husband arrives the following morning and finds her sitting on the couch, staring blankly into space, unable to speak. The hotel doctor inspects her, but informs her husband that this is outside his area of expertise. But fortunately, there's an expert in this field staying in the very hotel, Dr. Richard Cross. A few minutes later, Dr. Cross arrives and in walks Vincent himself. He quickly pieces together the cause of Janet's ailment. She must have suffered some sort of shock and is catatonic. He suggests that she is taken immediately to his sanatorium for treatment. Once there, he sets out to discover just how much she witnessed.
Are you living permanently at the hotel?
No, as a matter of fact, we've got to clear out by noon.
Oh, I see. But then I'd better take her to my place. She's going to need someone with her night and day.
Dr. Cross has a private sanatorium just out of town.
I see.
Believe me, Lieutenant, it's best for her.
His nurse, Elaine Jordan, played by Lynn Barry, drops by his house later that evening. We learn that Elaine is the mistress that Cross was having an affair with. Cross informs her that he hid his wife's body in a trunk and had it shipped to his lodge in the country. They then discuss what to do about Janet.
Now no one knows. We're safe.
You're forgetting Janet Stewart, aren't you? She knows. What if she talks?
I haven't forgotten her. She can't tell what she's seen as long as she's in this condition, can she?
The shock will wear off in a couple of weeks at the most.
It'll wear off if you let it, Dick.
Elaine, I'm a doctor.
She'll talk only if you let her. You mean too much to me. It's the only way out, Dick. It's the one and only way out for us.
Dr. Cross keeps Janet sedated and tries hypnotism, attempting to make her forget what she witnessed. Meanwhile, Janet's husband calls for a second opinion. Enter Dr. Harvey, a colleague and former instructor that Cross studied under. He questions Cross's findings and suggests he lay off the sedatives. Dr. Cross tries to convince both Janet and her husband that she's delusional. He's growing increasingly desperate and feeling increasingly guilty over his wife's murder. Together with Elaine, he devises a plan to get rid of Janet once and for all.
If a man wanted to, if he had courage, he could get rid of her and no one would ever know. The doctor has an advantage. I could give her insulin shock treatment. Shock treatment's indicated in a case like hers. I could give her 4 injections. Then with the last one, an overdose. No one would ever know the difference.
Then we'd be safe.
But things don't go quite that smoothly for Dr. Cross. The police have grown suspicious of the circumstances surrounding his wife's death. Janet's husband is growing increasingly suspicious of Cross's motives, and Janet herself is increasingly insistent that she saw Dr. Cross commit murder.
Please help me. Get the police here, please.
We don't need the police, Mrs. Stewart. You come along with me and everything will be all right.
You don't understand. There's nothing the matter with me. I want the police.
Shock was filmed in 1946, a good 8 years before Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window, another film that features a similar theme of an innocent bystander witnessing a murder through a neighboring window. Rear Window was based on a 1942 short story by Cornell Woolrich called It Had to Be Murder. It isn't too much of a stretch, therefore, to suppose that the story could have been the inspiration for both films, particularly as most of Price's films with 20th Century Fox were based on books or other previously published material. Shock was directed by Alfred Worker, and it's an important film in the Price filmography as it was his first truly villainous part. Prior to this, the closest thing were his parts in The Invisible Man Returns and The Song of Bernadette, neither of which were straight villainous parts. Shock gave him the chance to play a truly malevolent character, a murderer, and though he still felt remorse for his wife's death, his own actions kept drawing him deeper and deeper down a dark path. This film is also interesting as it gives us a glimpse inside the medical profession at that time, and in particular, the psychiatric field. How accurate a glimpse, however, is up for debate as they have some pretty questionable practices inside the Cross Sanatorium, including smoking and handing out sedatives like candy.
Put her to bed and have Dr. Stevens give her an injection of scopolamine.
Yes, Doctor.
She's had her injection. She was restless and we gave her a sedative.
I notice, Richard, you've been giving her sedatives.
Give her a hypodermic, nurse.
For a moment, she became very violent. I had to give her a sedative.
I could give her 4 injections. The treatment itself consists of a series of shocks brought on by injections of insulin.
Overall, Shock is an effective film noir. It's fast-paced with a short runtime and an excellent performance from Vincent in the lead role. Next up for Price would be the 1946 Gothic romance, Dragonwyck.
That's right.
Halloween doesn't have to be spooky. Not with Easter Seal Safe Halloween coupons, the safe treat that gives treatment. Safe Halloween coupons are good for treats at stores and restaurants. Give them to trick-or-treaters or treat yourself. Give Easter Seal Safe Halloween coupons because Halloween should be warm and friendly.
Coupon books available at area Burger Kings, NCNB banks, and AMC theaters.